Good morning, good morning. What a lovely morning. This chap's just wandering home, meandering home. Don't think he's got a care in the world. How are you anyway? All right? I'm in the middle of editing a video which is longer than normal. I don't know why. I think I recorded it in 2 parts. Anyway, that'll be why you'll probably get this video with a load of other videos. Anyway, I hope you're well. The big story on the television at the moment is we found another spy to add to the Philby, Burgess, McLean and Blunt. We can now add the name of Mandelson. Caught, I wouldn't say red-handed, sort of probably pink-handed would be better, because he's been caught indirectly through emails that he sent that have only just been released. And the people who said that all the Epstein papers, not the list, this mythological list of clients, but the Epstein list, the Epstein papers have been released, and of course they're like with all papers, you know, once they're out in the antiseptic of the daylight, a lot of things become apparent that weren't before, and the public is shocked to find out that basically affairs are run in a way which they would regard as corrupt. Now, when I say corrupt, I mean corrupt in the sense of like computer memory gets corrupt and your computer won't start, or a disk gets corrupted or something. Not in the legal definition of corrupt, as in legally actionable and you know, particularly against me. So I thought I'd use it as a theme just to discuss on the way to work. Corruption in dentistry, where things are corrupt, have been corrupted. And I sort of tried to think of a few examples, and in the end I just thought, well, basically about everything I was thinking of is corrupt, and or has been corrupted. And my biggest problem, I think, with this video is not going to be sort of talking about instances of corruption, but trying to fit them all in, you know, in the 20 minutes or so in my drive to work. So I'm going to try and see what I can do. But I mean, it's a shame you can't suggest areas that I could address, because I could point out corruption in any area that anyone nominated. So from the day-to-day point of view, I think the corruption of the dental treatment provision system is probably extremely obvious to all those who worked in it in the 80s and trained in it in the 70s. It's the way that there is no NHS dentistry really, in the same way as there was in the 80s, when you could go to any NHS dentist and get accepted and get treatment that was to a reasonably high standard. And the abolition of the inspection and testing, dental estimates board, dental practice board, the dental officers, regional dental officers, etc. And that sort of inspection is, I think that's led to a lot of corruption insofar as the dentistry that's being done has been corrupted. You know, you're seeing these single ended bridges, you know, instead of a 3-unit bridge to a 2-unit bridge, still get paid for a bridge, but the lab fee is less. The corruption of only taking on children on the NHS if the parents come and see you privately. The corruption of not being able to get your teeth scaled and polished on the National Health Service as you are entitled, but being referred to the hygienist, where you have to pay privately. All this corruption has come about, in the past 20, 30 years. Some of it, like the acceptance of the children and the hygiene, has been going on for a long time, And it certainly didn't exist prior to 92 to the contract changes. So I put that down as the low-level corruption. And then the taking people off your list. If you don't like them, really, if they so much as look at you the wrong way, if they're so much as a day late with their checkup, the corruption of not sending out reminders anymore, because you don't want people to be reminded that they need to come in, because they're much easier to get them off your list if they don't, if they're delinquent on their appointment schedule. And also, I mean, there's a lot of now then, since the inspection and testing, the corruption of dentures, for example, going straight from impressions to fit. The technicians' work no longer being really something which they take a pride in, but just most of them regarding NHS dentistry in particular as complete rubbish work that they do just to earn almost nothing, and they send it back, practically unfinished and unfittings, and expect the dentist to fit it, because let's face it, it's the dentist who sent them the rubbish impression in the first place. So all that's all been corrupted. Then you've got corruption at a slightly higher level, which is the sort of the commissioning level, and this has been corrupted by a demotion of dentistry in the commissioning hierarchy, to where you got to the point where every profession wanted to be represented on the commissioning body, because they knew that was the route to the money, the way that worked. And but not everybody could have a seat. I mean, if everybody, the ear people, everybody, the osteopaths, everybody, the chiropractors, everybody was on the committee, then the committee would be like 200 people large, and it would just be a big bun fight of everybody fighting for the budget. So what they've done is that the major players, the larger players, ended up on the committee, and dentists got left off. And what happened was, as we always do, we got grouped in with the also-rans, the second tier primary care services, and we were told that the doctors would safeguard our interests, because let's face it, doctors and dentists, right, go together, right? Dentists and doctors aren't all dentists failed doctors. Don't the doctors not all know about dentistry as included in their doctrine? To which the answer is obviously no. But so then, as a result, then obviously dental budgets got deprecated, and we had to fight for what we got against doctors who were claiming that obviously the money was needed to stop people having heart attacks. If you were going to spend your precious budget on preventing decay or preventing heart attacks, surely, don't call me Shirley, surely you're going to spend that money on heart attacks. You unfeeling brute. So there was a corruption at that level of responsibility to the dental profession, and then the corruption at the Department of Health level, insofar as the people running the dental profession over the last 20 years have been largely unelectable. We've had people like Barry Cockcroft, never really found out who gave him his job. I suppose somebody at the Department of Health gave him his job. And Lord Colwyn, who was at least a dentist, but was a member of the House of Lords. Earl Howe, his family been in the House of Lords since Henry VIII, was given responsibility for dentistry. Loads of people have been given responsibility for dentistry who are unelected, and as a result, the profession really lost its direction. The chief dental officer used to be the highest job within the profession. And, after the debacle of Virginia Bottomley and Kenneth Clark and John Reed and Rosie Winterton, all these, all the time we're getting further and down and down and down the food chain. Nobody wants dentistry. Nobody wants dentistry. So we'll give it to, it used to be a Minister for Health and then, or Secretary of State for Health, and it was a minister, and then it was a junior minister, and then, and none of these people wanted dentistry. They hated dentistry. They didn't know anything about dentistry. They were like the guy who's in charge of which Consumers Association, who heard the super complaint about dentists and went to the General Dental Council and called it the General Dentistry Council because he knew nothing about dentistry. And these people had produced a super powerful report on behalf of other super powerful people. And it made things worse. But didn't know because he didn't have the experience or the expertise really to know what he was doing, what he was recommending. So then you've got like the General Dental Council. Well, just to finish my point, so what happened was the chief dental officer, instead of being the apex of the pyramid, the dental pyramid, became an inverted pyramid of Department of Health apparatchiks and bureaucrats, and of which the chief dental officer became their executive officer. And although he was technically still a dentist, he was a civil servant now working for the government rather than representing the profession to the government. So that the democratic process got contaminated, got corrupted. The General Dental Council, again, when I was, I qualified, it was widely understood as that it was a body of dentists that was responsible for standards, and that it was very highly respected and supported. And then it got, then that got corrupted really, because I think it got corrupted around about the time that. Who was it? Nan Wilson, I think, was in charge of the GDC. And they made these changes that said that dentists could be removed from the register on the balance of probabilities. Instead of proving beyond reasonable doubt that they'd done something, it was just whether, it was likely or not that they had. And that was a solicitor called Duncan Rudkin, who was a very big proponent of these and reassured me personally that it wouldn't make any difference because, by the time it came to removing somebody from their profession, the balance of probabilities was pretty much equivalent to beyond reasonable doubt, although that's not how it happened. And then we had the great, there was like this 20-year reign of terror against and people like the failed child support agency woman was put in charge, and other Lord Toby Harris, I think, was the latest unelected, unaccountable chair, and they were striking people off left, right, and centre and brought in a minimum of 5 years at a time. So you couldn't be suspended for a year or struck off for a year. You had to be struck off for 5 years. That was the minimum. And also striking people off for being a day late with their postgraduate, their CPD declaration. So, all this, I think there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because I think the GDC has finally realised that they were corrupted, I believe, by the legal profession. I think the legal profession captured the GDC for their own ends, and that's why we had sort of all the stupidity of people. Let me just turn this round. we had the legal stupidity of people who had, who were in their 80s, who'd retired, who'd moved to America, but where a patient had made a complaint, insisted on having a 4-day hearing in absentia of the accused, leading to a striking off of someone who retired possibly 2 years prior and had no intention. And the argument was, oh, well, they might apply again. They might apply. So therefore, we're going to, Mr. Sue Grab It and Run are going to trouser several tens of thousands of pounds for a completely pointless hearing. And the dentists on the General Dental Council are not, in the face of a three-handed, it's a three-cornered boxing match. It's the GDC blob and the solicitors, highly paid solicitors, and conflicted obviously by money, versus the dental members who have now been downgraded to a bunch of ants producing honey to feed the sort of sacrifice. So talking of three-corner boxing matches, I mean, the whole process of providing dentistry in this country has got corrupted. When I qualified, while there was an element of truth that people who had enrolled for medicine and been found wanting by the medical colleges did transfer to the dental course, to save their bacon. I can't say I really knew anybody out of the 50 people on my course who'd done that. And I can't, it was even when I was qualifying, it was not really a thing. But, a lot of people who came into dentistry in those days did so because they, it was vocational. I mean, there was a lot of, he's my father's dentist, so I'm going to train so I can go and work for him as an associate and then possibly one day buy his practice. But I came in from nowhere. I was a ab initio, de novo, Latin at school, as you can tell. And then, after about, 20 years or so, dentistry, medicine and dentistry in particular, got targeted by a certain group of people, an ethnic group, let's put it that way, who placed a great value on earning money and saw medicine as a way of their sons earning money because it was a vocational degree and meant that they were pretty much guaranteed to get into a job post qualification, and also that can carry considerable social prestige. And but for the dentistry, actually was better for the women because it allowed for career breaks. You could, in the old days, obviously, if you're a dental nurse and you got married and say moved to a different part of the country, you could quite easily get a job somewhere else. And so it's a portable skill. And it turns out that being a female dentist was a portable skill. You could go straight into a job, well-paying job, very well-paying job compared to most graduates, earn some money, and then you could have a break to have a child, and then you could go back to work, and then you could have a break to have another child, and then you could go back to work. And of course, this suited the Ferengi class extremely well. And so dentistry became, commoditized. It became a way to earn money rather than a job where you fix people's teeth and just happen to earn money. So that got corrupted. Then the representation got corrupted, something I've got a lot of very direct personal first-hand experience. And I heard something in a film. I was watching a film this morning, Humphrey Bogart in a film called Deadline USA, which is about a newspaper that is, does a lot of good work and is filled with, hundreds of staff who are very well-meaning and proper old-fashioned journalists. It's got a bit of a sad ending because in the end the paper is sold off to sort of a Rupert Murdoch style title that is given to printing pictures of dead women on the front page. So the ending's not entirely satisfactory. But then the ending of the GDPA/DPA wasn't entirely satisfactory. It was frozen out by this famous three-sided boxing ring where you had the public on one side and you had the government in another, I'll say corner, but another angle of the triangular boxing ring, and then you've got the BDA in the last one, and so the BDA and the government sort of teamed up and against the public, which I think was really wrong. It was right for the government, it was right for the BDA, but it was wrong for the public. And the public didn't realise that they thought the government was fighting for them, and dentists thought the BDA was fighting for them. But in reality, both of them were fighting for themselves. So what happened was the GDPA got frozen out and had an unhappy ending, even though it was by far and away the most genuine of the associations. But it was corrupted by the BDA and the government together, aiming to squash any opposition. Another organisation that was corrupted was the Doctors and Dentists Review Body. That was set up, nominally. Don't let anyone tell you that anything is independent. Nothing is independent. In fact, the only reason that they put the word independent into things is because they're not independent, but they want people to be able to make the argument that they are. And there was nothing independent about the Doctors and Dentists Pay Review Body. I've gone on before about the process, but the actual, Trevor Holdsworth in the pay review body, where he sort of went against the government recommendation and recommended a pay rise far in excess of what the government was happy with, and then the whole pay review body then promptly got dismissed. That shows you how corrupted that was. So now the pay review body is puts forward a corrupt recommendation every year. That's not really, that it is not at all. Their three main arms were recruitment, retention, and motivation. And what they put forward every year is will not at all achieve their stated objective. They can say that that's what they're aiming towards, but then that's typical meaty mouth wording, isn't it? You can't do something, you don't want to do something, you know that you're not going to do something, so what do? You say you're aiming towards it. That's so you can forget that. The review body's been corrupted as well. That's not going to work anymore because of the corruption. Everything has been corrupted. You used to be able to go, as I say, around the country and get a job, and dental nursing was a very good job for young girls in particular coming out of school without many qualifications who wanted to go into a caring occupation. They were going to dental nursing, and many of them were making extremely good dental nurses. It's a vocational qualification. And then because of the greed of the British Dental Nurses Association, and their desire to get, they will say it was their desire to get dental nurses some status, some prestige, some parity with the dentists in terms of being registered professionals. And all they did was they lumbered them with the requirement every year to pay some more money to this greedy empire building organisation, the General Dental Council. For what? For nothing. Just to appear on a register. For what? Just to stop girls who are coming out of school going into dental nursing, which they don't anyway, because providing you've got, you're working towards getting a qualification, you can still have an unqualified nurse working for you. And she can even fail the exam and carry on working for you, providing she's working towards getting a sit and doing a resit or whatever. So, and the technicians got the same. They got Richard, what's his name, got them all signed up to the GDC. Now, the the end result of that is that there are no dental technicians anymore. There are no dental technicians anymore. My dental technician ran off to join the border force. The technician I use is now, I would say, in a worse position now than he was 40 years ago. They're certainly working from a converted cowshed on a farm when they used to have quite a prestigious central, an address in the centre of town, lovely facilities. Now, they say that it's because the landlord wanted to sell the lease. Well, I mean, that's fine. I can understand that, but I don't know why that means that they had to move to a cowshed. Apparently, it's something to do with light industrial units being difficult to get planning permission for. Indemnity is corrupted because the nurses have been told that they need indemnity. The people that indemnify them, WR Berkeley, were desperate for nurses to make claims because they had like tens of thousands of nurses on their books, all being told that they had to take out insurance, thanks to Pam Swain and the BADN, and but they had no claims. And why would they? Because nurses don't. What do? Nurses don't do anything. So WR Berkeley were desperate for a nurse to make a claim that they could publicise to everybody to say that they've actually, you're not paying for nothing. There has been a claim. This could be you. It could be you. The old National Lottery. Excuse me. So, I mean, I'm going to stop there, but I mean, I could go on. I mean, if you look at the criminal records thing, I mean, a lot of dentists now are, they've been told, they're firmly convinced that they need a criminal records check. I mean, that's a lot of money, and it's not because, in my opinion, it's totally unnecessary because we don't have the sort of access to vulnerable people that would be necessary for us to really commit any offences. I mean, what are we going to do in the surgery? Surgery full of staff. It's not like people don't come and stay at my surgery overnight. Do you know what I mean? So that's all these, and the various other corruptions, the Care Quality Commission corruption and the radiological corruption and the, in terms of registering the machines and the servicing requirements, telling people that they need dishwasher sterilizers when really, they don't, they never did. And the compressor corruption, where the rules that regarding massive room size compressors and sterilizers, autoclaves are made, waste disposal corruption. Anyway, I'm not going to carry on. It's my job as an elderly man to say that the world's going to the hell in a handbasket, but I think I've given you enough examples to let you know. So I've shown you the handbasket, haven't I, at least, and given you enough stuff to fill it up with. All right. So anyway, thank you, Peter Mandelson, for your contribution to today's debate, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.